My first guest is considered an OG of hip-hop. Fat Joe made his debut in 1993. Listen to what was happening that year. That was the same year Tupac, Wu-Tang Clan, and Snoop Dogg all changed hip-hop in their own way. But even while surrounded by all those legends, Fat Joe became renowned himself. Lean Back is one of the anthems. I don't care where you are in the world. I don't care. Here's an example. All you have to hear is, do the rock away. Now lean back, lean back. I'm telling you, that's just one of the hits that made Fat Joe a multi-platinum selling artist, along with two of my favorites, All the Way Up, and his 2002 hit, What's Love, with our friend, R&B Princess Ashanti. Wow, well, today, nearly 30 years after his first single, Flojo, the Don has released his new memoir, The Book of Jose. It is an unfiltered look at his life, growing up in South Bronx, unforgiving streets, overcoming adversity, and surviving everything from childhood bullying to prison and severe depression. Take a look.
Being an author is different from anything I've ever done before, but it has been therapeutic for me. Before now, I've never elaborated on my life so in depth. I did it in part for me. I wanted to see my own truth and understand where I came from and how that played into the development of my character. And I did it for my readers and listeners. I wanted all of you to see that a person can really change.
Wow, please welcome Grammy-nominated artist, entrepreneur, and now author, Fat Joe! Congratulations. Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm already ready to cry because this baby made it to the big time.
Wow.
With everything, all the odds against him.
That's
all
right.
the odds against him. The memoir came out yesterday. You were back at the Apollo. Wow. What an incredible moment. You write about coming out of your comfort zone early in your career. You were in the Bronx. That's you and Stephen A., our dear friend.
Last night.
The Apollo is so special because this kid went on stage. You won first place 4 weeks in a row.
Right.
And you wrote about it in the book. You said the elephant in the room was that Fat Joe was a Latino kid in Black Harlem. I told my hood delegates that I was going up to the Apollo to try out, and they were looking at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's a fact.
For many reasons. But I wanted out. I was in the streets. We were hustling. We were making big money. A lot of my friends started going to jail. Some of them are still in prison today from that time. My best friend is in jail for life. And so I see everybody starting to go to jail, this RICO law, taking 60 guys, 50 guys, 40 guys, taking them forever. And I was like, yo, I love hip hop. This is my way out. So I had to go to the Apollo Theater. Amateur night, I used to go there and as a hustler, throw money at the contestants when they went up there. So it's like going from being one of the most respected street guys to humbling myself. Yeah. And
I love that you said the humbling of yourself because we know the Apollo audience. I watched on TV and I thought, I could never get on that stage. Are you kidding me? And there you are, you said humbling yourself because you had a crew known as the Terror Squad. I thought that was a record label until I read the book. These were actually, well, it is, but it started out as a crew of your friends who literally terrorized the streets. You said in the book that violence was therapy.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, what happens is, can we show them the book again?
Of course.
So when you see this face, most people look and be like, Fat Joe looked tough when he was 12. This was a kid that got beat up and bullied every day by 20 guys for 2 years straight. There's not a Christmas picture, a Thanksgiving picture where I don't have a black eye or a bloody lip.
You wrote about that. You talked about going into this school where you were followed and beaten up daily.
Every day.
By dozens of kids. You were targeted.
Yes. Not targeted. It was like, we're going to beat somebody up. Hey, Joey, come here. Yeah. And I would fight them every day and just get beat up. And
What was happening at home? Because you write about your father who had his own struggles, right? Your father's helping to raise your son, Joey, and we'll talk about Joey. But your father, you talk about, had his own struggles. Your mother was there. What was the support system like?
they were good parents, right? In the big scheme of it all, my parents never used drugs. My mother, not even my father, really drank in front of me, but he had drinking issues. He would gamble a lot. You know, he would come home. He'd be very abusive to my mother, not physically, but you know, there was times he would come home 2 in the morning and she would run and cook him a steak after he lost his money in poker. And if the steak was too salty, he would throw the whole plate against the wall and wake us all up. Just the dumbest things I've ever seen. Like, we barely had enough money. He would rip the TV, break the TV, and have to go buy a TV the next day. It didn't make no sense to me.
How
But
did that anger affect you? Because as I said, now you've talked about your son, Joey, who has Down syndrome and diagnosed with autism. Your dad is helping to raise him. That's them now. This is your family now. That's not the man who was in the home. How did that violence impact you? So you're getting bullied, you're going home, you're seeing that violence, and then you're trapped in the world where you are getting beat up by kids at school. How does that affect your heart, your spirit, your drive?
you know, it took the loving Joe out of me, and it just darkened me, and it took me to a place of like, you know, one day the bullies came, and I had my best friend with me. My mother would buy him a spice ham and cheese sandwich every day, a quart of water. We played video games. So he come up to him, his name was Leonard. And they said, yo, Leonard, why you always with Fat Joey? He was like, he's my best friend. He was like, they told him, if you don't jump Joey with us, we're gonna jump you every day too. And my best friend beat me up with them. And so that day, I was in my room with a black hoodie, black pants, black boots, tying it up back and forth. And I just kept crying and crying. And I said, that's it. I don't care about nobody. I'm going to give it to everybody. And that's where the birth of the bad guy started.